Right, let's get started. A lot happened in the last election, presidential election, and from some of the other elections that we're seeing, the staggered election, we've seen the EFCC now coming into the fray. They're now assisting other sister security agencies to do the work when the issue of vote buying became a big issue. And so that's why we're focusing on how to curb vote buying and money laundering around the election period. And in fact, on election day, we're seeing some deployment that are being made by EFCC, and they're talking much about what they will do. This time around, what will the EFCC be doing? Let's speak with the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Abdulrasheed Bawa, who joins us virtually. It's good to see you again, Mr. Bawa. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. I see that you're still in the office. So are there coming preparations for tomorrow?
Well, we are okay. We are good to go. Our men are in all the 30 states of the federation that we have this governorship and National Assembly elections, including other states where we are going to have state assembly elections.
I guess it's good for us to know so that we can start conversation on tomorrow's election and the preparations that you are working on. Give us an update on what happened, what your men experienced in the presidential and National Assembly election. How much of arrest did you make? What ground did you cover? And what lesson you learned from that experience? And then we can start the conversation on tomorrow's preparation. Can you tell us anything about the last election cycle?
Well, Sheun, as you are aware, our role in the last elections, and indeed in all the elections, is as a result of our mandate as Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, investigating economic and financial crimes in all ramifications. Specifically as it relates to issues concerning elections, we are being guided by the provisions of Electoral Act, Section 22, Section 126, as well as Section 127 of the Electoral Act that has criminalized possession of voters' card other than yours, as well as, of course, buying and selling of same. In addition to that, of course, vote buying, which you have mentioned. It is out of all of these issues that our men, were out there. As you know, one of the challenges that we have is the fact that we will not be able to cover, all the polling units during the last general elections, 176 of them. But we're able to, provide our social media handle, telephone numbers, as well as, of course, our email addresses, and of course the eagle eye that we have, where we call on Nigerians and indeed other sister law enforcement and security agencies to reach out to us if they see or hear anything that has to do with issues surrounding vote buying, as well as criminality around voters' card. So it is within the stem of that we are out there, and we have made quite a number of arrests, some of which you have reported. Investigations are being rounded up. Very soon we are going to charge them to court. We have learned a lot of lessons out there, but some of these issues, you can't just come out and tell the whole world regarding our own modus operandi or some of the challenges that we have encountered, because there will be an election tomorrow, and if you do that, you are risking, you are risking giving the potential, criminals in that regard to be ahead of you. So we'll hold on to that for now. But of course, all that we have seen and all that we have learned, we are going to sit back and work towards improving, towards the next, general elections. As well, of course, we are going to relate with INEC, we are going to relate with other security agencies to be better at what we are doing in respect of vote buying come the next general elections. But for now, honestly, we will not be able to share those experiences, to the press.
Well, Mr. Bawa, speaking of review, of course, we read that the commission intercepted the 3.25 million naira meant for vote buying in Lagos. Arrests were made in Zamfara as well, and we also saw a lawmaker arrested in Rivers State. What leads are these arrests providing to sponsors, to perpetrators of this type of electoral violence during elections? And is there any strong message that we can secure out of this that will serve as a deterrence for those who may want to do same in tomorrow's elections?
Yeah, certainly. As I said, in all the cases that we are working on them. We are going to round up or conclude our elections, and of course, we are going to charge them to court. That is what we are going to do. But of course, investigation is to get to the facts, get to the root of the matter, get to know what has actually happened. So arrests were made. Of course, investigation will reveal whether or not, they have crossed the line. And of course, as a law-abiding institution, we are going to go to court, who will serve as an arbiter to listen to us and, of course, listen to their defense before decisions are made. But just as you have been saying, and other, media institutions as well, it's very important for Nigerians to realize that this issue of vote buying is not only about the EFCC or law enforcement agencies. It's about themselves. It's about we Nigerians. It's about better governance. It's about better accountability. It's about better transparency. We cannot afford to have people out there to buy our conscience. That means they are buying out our democratic processes to do what they want to do. If somebody has purchased your conscience, has purchased, your vote, what moral responsibility do you have on him to ask him questions regarding what he is doing or what he ought to have done that he is not doing, etc., etc. So it is something that Nigerians should understand, that this thing is all about us. It's all about the future of ourselves, our country, and indeed, of course, our children.
Well, Mr. Bawa, you referred to some portions of the Electoral Act, and some would say that the recommendations for punishment from the Act itself, is just a slap on the wrist. I'd like to get your personal views. Do you think, those recommendations, in some cases, payment of 500,000 naira fine, is enough to serve as a deterrent for vote buyers during elections?
Well, yes, of course it is, because if you're an ex-convict, you will always be an ex-convict, except if you are being pardoned. And then, of course, fine is another way of punishing you, as well as serving certain level of prison terms. Now the question is, what is the subjective? Is all subjectivity that is making us to feel that, oh, look, if you have done this, you must serve 10 years or 5 years or 20 years imprisonment and all of that. We have seen instances whereby people are being jailed, but that does not mean that others will not come and do the same crime that others have committed, in which they are being punished for. Even capital punishment, is not deterring completely, others from doing that. But I think what is more important is the fact that the laws are being enforced and people are seeing it. And then that is why the issue of prevention and deterrence is far more important than the enforcement itself. Ability for law enforcement agencies and the government to put in processes and procedures in place that will make it difficult for people to commit the crime is far more important than the enforcement. But when it comes to the issue of enforcement, once somebody is charged to court and is convicted, and then of course punishment is being served, then we can take it off from there, whether we need any review or otherwise. But we have not even explored the provisions of the law to the fullest. Why are people now even talking about amending that is too small? Let us start with what we have. Let us see. Let us have a situation whereby maybe 100, 200, 1,000 electoral offenders in this category are being punished, and then of course we are now comparing based on scientific research to see that, okay, look, we need to do something better. But we are not there yet. Why are people eager, to make laws amended when they are not being enforced to the fullest?
I'd just like to put a figure to it, just so Nigerians can understand the work the EFCC is doing and will be doing. For the previous election, how many arrests were made across the 36 states and the FCT by your men and women?
We have made quite a number of arrests. As I said, of course, every arrest or every investigation is being determined by the inquiry that is being made, thereafter, with the facts that are that are going to be unraveled, during the course of the investigation. Several arrests were made, and of course, once we conclude our investigation, we'll be able to, charge to court going forward.
Are you able to put a figure to it? 10, 20, 30, maybe?
Several arrests were made.
Okay, I take it that you don't want to put a figure to it, but it is said that when arrests are made and when, security agencies and, such as yours are trying to prosecute, politicians come along the way and they try to secure the release of those who have been arrested for electoral offenses and other offenses under the purview of the law. And I wonder if you've gotten such visits, such inducements, and what would you tell Nigerians? What assurance are you giving Nigerians that, I don't know, how you would handle the case moving forward?
No, all the cases that are under the purview of EFCC are bailable offenses, and that means we grant administrative bail. Normally, when somebody is arrested, of course, we give him bail conditions, and once those bail conditions are being fulfilled, we release you on bail, and then while investigation continues until when we are ready to charge to court. So anybody can come for the bail of anybody if he meets with the criteria. So it's not about influence, it's not about inducement, there's nothing like that. Bails are free, and we continue to do our work based on the laid down procedures that we have.
So you've not gotten any pressure from any politician saying, drop this case, you are a friend, we'll take care of you moving forward. Has that been the case with you?
No, there is nothing like that. Nobody can come and tell the EFCC to drop a case. How? It is our own procedure and processes, that will make us move forward. We have the discretion, of course, to investigate matters that are before us and to also prosecute matters. So there is nothing like pressure. Pressure from where? How? What?
Okay, just to get a better understanding of what to expect, because I can see on social media, as you said, a lot of Nigerians tag the EFCC when they see something. They tag the EFCC. In fact, they even tag EFCC to videos of, oh, by the way, some of these voter inducement take place before the election. I think it would be important to also speak to what you're doing, because some of those things don't happen on election day. They happen pre-election, and they've done all of the deals, and, the election day, things just go on. But what kinds of will I say crimes, infractions do you cover? What are you looking out for? So Nigerians know what to tag you to. I mean, some might see violence and want to tag the EFCC. Some might see other things and want to tag the EFCC. What is under your purview? What are you looking out for tomorrow and even maybe pre-election?
I told you the provisions of Section 22 is very clear. The provision of Section 126 and 127 of the Electoral Act 2022 is very clear, and we are focused primarily on these three key issues that has to do with, issues surrounding voters card, which is being criminalized regarding somebody that has them, that wants to sell them, or that wants to purchase them. And then, of course, you have the provision of Section 126 that talked about issues of inducement or issues of coercing somebody to vote for somebody or not to vote for another person, which is the tricky one, because it says that when it comes to the issue of inducement, it has to be done within 300 meters radius of the polling unit. So that means when you are mentioning the issue of inducement before the elections, how do you prove that? Issue of the intent or mens rea, but of course we know that such inducement do happen. Then categorically the Section 127 of the Electoral Act is about vote buying, and these issues are very clear. So these are the issues primarily that we want to be talked about. But as law enforcement agency that is out there, when we see other things that are happening, we try to draw the attention of relevant law enforcement agencies to come in and deal with those situations.
Just a quick follow-up on Kade's question, Mr. Bawa. Is pre-election inducement, does it qualify as vote buying, and does the Commission go after such activity?
Yes, of course, we go after that. As I said, it's a difficult one to prove, in terms of inducement, because the provision of 126 is very clear. Section 126 of the of the Electoral Act is very clear when it says that it has to be done 300 meters to the polling unit. Now the question is, what is a polling unit? Is it a place where you have, the ballot boxes and INEC officials now camping in for an election? Of course, that is the polling unit, as designated, by INEC to say that you have one here. So that can only happen, as some of the lawyers have advised us, during the elections itself. You understand, when they are there, physically. So the inducement that happened 300 meters around that can now be seen if there is any arrest and investigation that leads to, indicative of the fact that somebody has, crossed the line as per the provision of the section, on that particular day. So can you now induce somebody 24 hours before coming of the INEC officials in that particular area called polling unit? Now, but of course, issues of vote buying, one can buy it, either before and during, but the incidences that we mostly see are those that are happening, during the elections. But of course, even before the elections, we have been receiving intelligence, in that regard, and we are following them, as it comes.
All right, let me ask you. The last time we spoke with you on the preparations for the election, you said politicians are bringing forward new methods of vote buying. But first and foremost, did you identify any of these new methods? And if you did, which and how are these methods carried out?
I think, Choyun, we have discussed about that the last time we spoke, that when it comes to the issue of buying and selling, people tend to see that buying and selling happens only with cash. But of course, with the situation that that comes with the Naira redesign, there is a lot of, quote and unquote, some kind of insufficient availability of the Naira. And we have seen instances and situations whereby people are being induced and voters are being votes are being bought with in kind. Food items are being used. Wiring materials are being also used. And other things. We have even seen a situation whereby even gas cylinders were distributed, by a politician, for the purpose of wooing some voters into his camp.
All right. So let me also take you up on what we thought we saw on the field when there was no cash. We hear and we understand that there were preloaded cards that were given out to people. Are you aware of that instance?
Yes.
So is there anything that you have done in that respect?
Yes, of course. That is even the easiest thing to do, because that means the transactions happens through the financial institutions. But, the question here is whether or not, there is enough evidence now, to enable us now link that cards that were distributed, for the purpose of buying or selling of votes. That is the tricky one. It's very, very important for us to understand that. We have seen that instance. So, all of the situation whereby the owner of the funds will say that, yes, I distributed this. It is part of my own welfare, activities to the citizens of or the indigents of my constituency. We have already been seeing that. We have already been hearing about that and all of that. And but investigation will reveal, the truth.
So. Give us an understanding, because the last time you said that monies are being stashed in anticipation of the election for politicians to use to buy votes. Since the judgment of the Supreme Court, is there any case of the stashing of money?
There is. Sheun.
Can you give us more details about this? Any arrest made?
No, Sheun, I will not give you more details. But
why?
There is.
Why? Are you angry with me tonight suddenly?
No, I can't be angry with you. At my face now. Do I look...
because I thought you were going to feed us with those information.
I cannot multiply, Sheun. You know me now.
All right. I mean, I know that elections are, I mean, is not an event. It doesn't happen in one, that there is a process. So,
yes.
can you tell us if there is a way you can give us an understanding of those activities we saw in the days before preceding the election, perhaps on the Friday, where we saw people giving out, because we said vote buying or inducement does not only come in cash, but we've seen video on social media where people are giving out food items and all what have you, labeled in politicians' faces and names and political party logos and flags. Would you describe that as inducement or vote buying? But it's not happening on election day.
Yeah, it can be, and that is why the issue of the intention and the action, comes to play. And that is why the issue of investigation is also important. Until you interview people, until you hear from people, until you, cross-reference all that you have before you can determine whether there is a prima facie case of vote buying or vote selling in such incidences. And as I said, these are issues that are, by the day proving difficult to prove because of the fact that these are politicians. Some of them have been doing it before the election. Some of them, will continue to do it even after the elections. That is the reality. We need to understand that. But then, of course, we are not deterred about those challenges. We continue to push and investigate.
Mr. Bawa, I wonder how you're taking in this call for a probe of the EFCC under you by anti-corruption CSOs, and it lists some issues. Are you faced by that?
What are the issues now? What have they been facing?
I imagine as an intelligence operative, you are fully aware of that, but I'll just name some of them for you just because you asked. I imagine you are aware, but they say brazen disobedience of court orders by you. They allege that you've recklessly politicized the commission under your watch and your continued stay in office, in spite of a court order that committed you to prison for contempt. I'll be shocked if you're not aware of this, but what's your response to that?
So which party are they saying that we are supporting? For the first time, nobody has come out to accuse the EFCC of supporting either the government that is in power or the government that is in opposition. We try to be neutral. We have been neutral. We have been on the fence, watching and doing things, covertly, behind the scenes. And of course, when it comes to the issue of being on the scene, we are there. We are doing it. I have discussed this issue of court. I'm not aware of any agency of government that is patronizing or is attending to high courts in this country, far more than the EFCC. We are obeying the court orders, court rulings, court pronouncement, on daily basis. That is our work. That is what we do. Last year alone, we have told the whole world that we secured 3,785 convictions in court. You cannot do that if you are not, following court orders and processes and pronouncement. We lost only 41. And that means we have over 98% success rate in court. If you add the two figures, that means we concluded, close to 4,000 cases, and we lost only 41. And that is less than 2%. So how can somebody now stand on his own? We are 200 million Nigerians, people that are being paid to come and do the bidding of some certain politicians that, we are investigating and will continue to investigate. They are being paid, and that is why they are doing what they are doing. And if they are coming out there to say that Bawa must go, others too are coming to say Bawa must stay. But it's not about Bawa going or Bawa staying. When it's time for Bawa to go, Bawa will go. That is the reality, of human stay, even in this world, to close of an office. You understand? But the issues that they are raising, they are baseless. They are not grounded. They don't know even what they are saying, to be honest with you. I'm inviting them to come here so that to discuss some of these issues that maybe they are being half-baked, they are being given to them half-baked by the politicians that just want to cause distraction because there is new government, coming coming in place, and they feel that Bawa is too stubborn for them, Bawa should go. If the time has come for me to go, I will go. But the EFCC is going to remain. That is what they need to understand. EFCC is going to remain, and whosoever that is taking over from me when the time comes, whether it is tomorrow, whether it is in the next 2 years or in the next 6 years, then I can guarantee you that EFCC will continue to do what it has to do. Our vision is to rid this country of economic and financial crimes, and we'll continue to do that, God willing, until we attain our objective.
So what do we expect, Mr. Bawa, for tomorrow? Before I ask you a final question, and we should perhaps release you on bail, just as you have not paid any money for the bail, but give us an understanding of what we should be expecting tomorrow, generally.
Well, Shewun, you'll be expecting our men, in the areas where they are assigned to perform their duties everywhere. And of course, like in the last general elections, we have given our telephone numbers, we have given our social media handles, we have given details of the Eagle Eye, where Nigerians can reach out to us with any information, any intelligence that they feel that the EFCC is within the purview of looking at. And then, of course, they are to be rest assured that we are going to look at all of them.
I know that election monitoring, observation, and whatever is not very familiar with the EFCC. Just only recently, your officials started monitoring election coverage. But as a final thought, a final word tonight, what would you say is perhaps the biggest lesson for the EFCC covering or monitoring elections?
Well, I think the biggest lesson that we have learned is the fact that Nigerians have embraced the fact that EFCC is out there to look at the issue of vote buying. And then, of course, just as you have mentioned, we only started monitoring elections in 2019 general elections. So we are still inside the learning curve regarding how best to deal with this. Some of the issues that we have seen, of course, require some amendment of the laws, to strengthen them. Some of the issues, of course, we are going to learn more, on the judicial pronouncement in respect of the cases that we are going to file in court. I can tell you that we have learned quite a number of things. You can't single out one issue, say that this is the primary reason or this is the best kind of lesson that you have learned out there. But cumulatively, I think we have learned a lot, and we are going to be better for it.
Mr. Abdulrasheed Bawa, the EFCC chairman. The EFCC is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nigeria's major anti-graft agency. Thank you so much indeed for talking to us. Please don't be bothered, because tomorrow we might have the reason to get across to you again and bring you on China's television to speak to us based on your experience and what you are learning on the field. But we must thank you sincerely for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much, Sheun. Always at the service of our dear country. So do reach out to me. We'll come online again and say one or two things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So that